This is Rap the News. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. Revelations 12 explained. And just like I said, you've heard all the lies before, and now you're coming into the truth. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And so I'm going to give you a similarity of that. The Statue of Liberty, which is what? The great whore of Babylon. You was told that this was talking about Mary. We're going to show you that it is not. Right? Because did the Virgin Mary ever appear in heaven? And then watch. Question, why was there a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet when we're told not to worship those things? Why is she appearing in heaven? This, people, is the fall of the Gentiles and Satan. And I'm going to say it again. Revelations 12 is all about the fall of the Gentiles and Satan when they were cast out of heaven. That is why a woman appeared. And she, being with child, cried. Right? And who is the child, supposedly? Christ. But Christ ain't who you believe he is. And I ain't talking about the Christ of Nazareth that was sent to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. We have to understand that this is something totally different here. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. And I'm going to explain everything. So have some patience so you can get an understanding. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. And behold, a great red dragon, which we know is who? Satan. Why did he appear? Because he's being cast out along with them, the Gentiles, right? So God cast all the Gentiles out of heaven. And he cast Lucifer, Satan, out with them, the subtle serpent, right? The dragon. There appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And what are these? The nations. Gentile nations. Those 7 stars spoke of in Revelations, right? The 7 churches, right? Yeah. And this is when the church is coming down right now. See, watch this. Listen to me carefully. The Gentiles are being thrown out of heaven for rebelling against God. And Satan is being thrown down with them. Right? And you got 7 heads and 10 horns. You got the churches and the nations. The kingdoms, right? Beast kingdoms. And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. So you had what? A meteor shower coming at their arrival, right? And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered for it to devour her child as soon as it was born. Kronos, right? Or whatever they Greek god is that devoured the children. Right? What's his name? I don't know his name. But some Greek god devours the children, right? And she brought forth a man child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. Now, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. So we're going to give that some thought here. For the black people, the rod of iron was a neck collar and shackles and chains. And that's how they ruled you. And for the rest of the nations, it's jail bars, right? And so if you do not listen to this demon and his system, you'll be thrown in his jail, right? If you go against his system, you'll be thrown in his iron jail, right? And that's how he ruling the nations, right? From the Hebrew nation to the Gentile nations. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God. And it ain't the God, that we serve of Israel. This is the false God. That they should feed her there 1,260 days. The same timeline is the two witnesses, right? They're going to preach for what? 1,260 days, right? The two witnesses. So now you got this woman falling from heaven, which is being cast down to earth with this date on it, right? Keep going. And there was a war in heaven at the same damn time that these demons was getting cast out of heaven, right? And bringing forth a man-child, right, to rule the earth with the rod of iron. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought, and his angels fought. I mean, who was the dragon and his angels? Didn't it just say a woman? Yeah, Gentiles. Right? And prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. So we have the fall of the Gentiles and Satan, or Satan and his progeny. Keep going. And the great dragon was cast out, where? Of heaven, along with what? His angels, the Gentiles. That old serpent called the devil and Satan, which is deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. That meteorite that came down and hit the earth, and the locusts came upon the earth with what? Hair like women and faces like a what? Locusts, right? And that's why they call them locusts. It is nothing but Gentiles and Satan. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, this ain't God, this ain't the angels, this is Satan's throne up there. Now is come salvation. Now you got to think about that. Here you got Satan and his angels being casted out of heaven. I want you to really think about it. They're being casted out of heaven, right? And they're getting thrown to earth. They're going to do 1,000 years in hell, and they try to glorify that. 1,000 years reigning with Christ in hell. That's what's going to happen. That's what already has happened. This is has-been material right here. This has already happened from the beginning. This is the beginning. He was cast out into the earth, meaning that he went to hell, and his angels were cast out with him. So they did what? According to the other revelation, 1,000 years burning, and then they was released from that prison to torment men on this earth. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation. How can these demons and these angels, the Satan's angels, how is salvation coming? See? And the strength and the kingdom of our God, the God of this earth, not the most high God of the highest heaven, and the power of his Christ, his deception. For the accusers of our brethren is cast down. Our brothers is cast down. Who is the accuser of our brethren? God. Now we have a God on this earth. We're making a God on this earth and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down. Who accused Satan and the Gentiles? God. Which accused them before our God day and night. Who is a God? Satan. How are you fallen O Lucifer, right? O morning star, a woman clothed with the sun, right? And they overcame him, God, by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. They didn't care if God destroyed them, and they don't care now. They don't care if God destroyed them. Ask the president, watch this. Like the men in Nineveh had to bow down and put sackcloth on to save themselves from the incoming doom. You think Donald Trump gonna bow down and put on sackcloth? Or you think he way too arrogant and he a devil worshiper and he ain't believing in none of that? All these people supporting that motherfucker, and God already told them in Ezekiel that anybody supporting this president and with them and all these nations is gonna burn them with them. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, which is what? Lies, blasphemy. And they loved not their lives unto death. Therefore rejoice, you heavens. Why? And you that dwell in the heavens, rejoice. Why? Because the devil and his angels was kicked out. And now it's peace. It ain't no peace with Gentiles. And I'm saying it for real. The devil is the one who started all this mess, and his angels, which is Gentiles. And this is just the truth. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth, though, and of the sea. Watch this. For the devil is come down to you. Watch this. Now is coming down the salvation and the strength of the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. And what is it saying down to you? For the devil is come down to you, having great wrath, because he knows he has but a short time. And the time that the Bible says is 40 and 2 months, whatever that means, because we know the times and dates were changed. Right? The Gentiles changed the times and dates. Really listen now. So it was a battle going on in heaven. Michael, the angels who was fighting against the devils and the progeny of Satan lost. They were thrown down into hell, which is in the earth, right, at the time. And then they saying, now is come, and that's down, the salvation and the strength of in the kingdom of our God. And y'all buying that crap, right? And then it's telling you exactly who came down. For the devil came down, right? The dragon and the Gentiles having great wrath, a perpetual hatred, murderous, right? Because they know that they have a short time. Why does the Gentiles have the same time as Satan? 40 and 2 months to do what? Destroy God's kingdom, Jerusalem, and trot it down underfoot, right? 40 and 2 months. Letting you know who the devil's angels are, right? Revelation 12. And when the dragon saw that he was cast into the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And it says what? The nations, the beast nations hated the whore, right? And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle. What, America? That she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, right? And watch this. Where she is nourished for a time and half a time. Who was given a time, and half a time? Satan and the Gentiles was, according to the Bibles. Look it up. Study it. From the face of the serpent. Right? And we're going to keep going down. And the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God. Not with all of them. Just the ones who keep the commandments of God. And then watch this. Then they added the lie. And have the testimony of Jesus Christ, which is what Christ. So there was a Christ born supposedly in Bani Israel that they called in Nazareth, right? The Christ, Jesus of Nazareth. And then there is this Christ that came down with the Gentiles, right? That was cast down to earth, right? that God is saying, woe to the inhabitants of the earth because they coming down, and heaven is celebrating because they ain't there no more, right? And then what's going to happen? He said a meteorite came down. A third part of the stars was thrown down, right? And what's happening right now? Now those meteorites are back, huh? And they finna be cast down to the earth again, right? As it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. Are not the meteorites getting ready to be cast down, the brimstones? To do what? To destroy those ones, the Gentiles. And then what it says, God says, and it won't be one left, for the Lord your God has spoken it. Check your DNA. This is Rap the News.